I don't know what triggers it off or where it comes from. I just know that it happens, and I get really like stressed out, kind of moody when I don't have sex, and I can't sleep properly. And it's not even just like to orgasm, it's like to have sex, like skin on skin. It's really crazy. Like, I think about sex constantly. So if I don't get it, I'm thinking about how I'm going to get it. And it's easy for me to get.
I've definitely got an addictive personality because I'm addicted now to women. All I want to do is date women all the time. I've got Janice, Jill, Patricia, Ellen, Caroline, Francis, Julia again. There's so many names on and emails on one page, you know, and there's so many with the same names, so it's always hard to relate who's who, you know.
I don't think I will ever satisfy whatever unusual need that I have. I mean, I've been looking for an awful long time, and I've tried everything from bondage to anal sex to group sex to, you know, to everything there is pretty much, apart from actually slicing bits off my own body or killing somebody, which are probably the last couple of avenues left. But, you know, there isn't much else to try. So to be perfectly honest, you know, where do you go from there? I mean, what do you do that is going to give me what I'm looking for when I'm not even entirely certain what it is?
I always wanted to be a playmate, always wanted to be an actress, always wanted to be a model, always knew I would be. I was aware of my sexuality and how I could use my looks to get what I wanted at such a young age, you know, like really young. And Mum always, she didn't like that about me. Like quite perverted from like a young age. And that's when she realised, shit, Coralie's, she's just got like a problem. So she sent me to counselling. I became really close with my counsellor. And then one day she showed me this photo of her family. And she was like really religious as well. And her son was just so hot. I just couldn't believe it. I saw him, I was like, wow. I ended up catching a train like 2.5 hours away and like going to the pool rooms and stuff and finding out where this guy hung out. And I just made it my like whole mission in life to seduce him. And I did. So I dated him for like 2 weeks and then I was just bored of him then. So I broke up with him and he was just absolutely devastated. He couldn't believe it. And she couldn't believe it. And she couldn't believe I did that. And she never ever saw me again. She just said, I can't, you're a really twisted little girl.
Welcome.
I mostly get on the sites in the night and then pick up their emails in the morning, you see. I've seen me getting up in the morning and having as many as 36 replies. That's the most I've ever had. Whether you'll meet them is another thing, because you've got to realise these are also writing to other men as well, you see. But you keep on plugging on, you know, and if they do go down to only about 5, then I go back on the sites and build up another 20 or 30. Keep on, it's like a production line. It's a full-time job, keeping these happy. My childhood memories of when I was living with my mother and father are very unhappy memories, because I was always afraid of them and always getting hit, especially my father. I became really sexually active, say about 12, 13. And to me, that was an exciting part of life. And the only enjoyment I was having then was having sex with girls. And that to me saved me from totally cracking up, I think. Otherwise I would have cracked up at an earlier age. I would have jumped over a cliff. But that spurred me on, the excitement of wanting to meet so many girls and sleeping with them and having sex with them. So from then on, from my teenage days on, my life began to get a bit better. This was the early 60s, supposed to be the permissive 60s, but parents were very old-fashioned. Like most kids, you masturbate, you know. And my mother just happened to come up and catch me. And she screamed and shouted, "You disgusting!" And she ran downstairs, and I thought she was going to bring a stick up now, and like some of my friends had the stick, you see. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get it now, I'm going to have a stick. But I was shocked when I saw her bring a bread knife in. She brought a bread knife in and she grabbed hold of me and she jumped off top of me and she was shouting, "I'm going to cut it off for you, I'm going to cut it off for you." And she was grabbing hold of my little willy and going to give a knife, and I was screaming, I was terrified. I thought she was genuinely going to cut it off.
Sex for me in the beginning was very weird. I lost my virginity quite young. I think I was about a month off my 14th birthday. I took one leg out of my jeans basically and took my knickers off that way and just laid there with all my clothes on with some sort of clumsy adolescent pouring at me. To be honest, sex for me probably didn't have any pleasure for very, very many years. It was always the way the man wanted it, you know, roughly from behind and being grabbed at and rummaged like an old carrier bag. It was just horrible. I can't explain how it feels, but you feel an immense pressure in here, and I just, I can't take any more. That's when I start worrying that I'm going to do something. It might just all come to a head. I might buy a bottle of wine, get really pissed, pass out on the sofa and throw up all over myself. Might be as simple as that. Or it could be as complex as suddenly we have a row, I'm out that door, and I don't want to go back down that path again. But that's how I feel.
After being voted third sexiest woman in the world by Loaded magazine, 24-year-old model Cora Lee has been asked to produce a monthly column for them about her sex life.
She became a more attractive proposition when we found out that she had this sex addiction. If she is prepared to talk openly about her private life, and your sex life is about as private as it gets, then it is something that, no, I don't think anyone's ever done it, in the sense that models don't do it because, quite rightly, they need a degree of privacy. She obviously thinks that that's not as important because, well, as she describes it, she has a sex addiction and she sees that as part of her life. And I think that's the distinction. The distinction is that degree of openness. In 10 years, we've worked in men's magazine 10 years, no model's ever been that open.
It's like so bad when that article comes out because I was like just completely honest. I'm like a journalist's dream. I just say, oh yeah, so I did
love
this.
it, don't they?
Yeah, and they're just like, really? So how many guys are you seeing? I'm like, yeah, about 8. Oh shit, should I be saying this? Are you gonna write that? And they're like, yeah, probably. I'm like, oh shit. The eight don't know about each other.
Excellent.
Why not, eh? I said they know they're one of many, but not that many.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that probably a psychologist would tell you that it is a terrible affliction which requires treatment, and these people's lives are in the control of their libido. You know, there may be extreme cases of people who literally can't function without having sex every 25 minutes. But I think, on the whole, the sex addiction thing is perceived certainly by our readers, as I like having sex and I have a lot of it. I think they see it more cheekily rather than, God, that must be terrible for Coralie to have sex all the time with men she's just met, you know. And you know, they're young men, so they probably think they're sex addicts. I want sex every... 16-year-olds, you know, they want sex every 5 minutes. So they probably view it as quite natural.
For Kim, the pressure is mounting as she prepares for one of the busiest weekends of the year.
I've been working solid for 3 days now. Last night I finished at 12:30. I should still be standing here, I think, about 12:15 tonight. I've got 2,800 balloons still to blow up. It's putting an enormous pressure on our relationship right at this moment because obviously I am taking my temper out on the nearest thing to me, which unfortunately is Jamie, which does put us in a position where, you know, it's making us hate each other through no fault of our own, really.
Throughout their relationship, Kim's compulsion to have sex with strangers has been triggered at times of great stress.
And if I really, really pissed her off, you know, she'd just like do the off, go out, get ready, go out. Obviously, you know, wasn't expecting anything like that to happen.
I know that I want to go out, I want to look nice, I want to have people look at me, I want to feel good. Because when I'm feeling good, I'm forgetting all the problems that are here. And if, you know, if people are going to tell me I look wonderful, you know, even better. So, you know, you've got that, and you start talking to somebody, you know, and immediately, I suppose, I kind of guess you know, it's a cop-out saying I didn't know, but if I started talking to a fellow, I kind of knew what would be the end result. You know, if he was going to come up with the goods, then I probably was. You've got that sort of build up while you're talking, you've got the excitement welling up and you're thinking, yeah, this is great, this is great, this is going somewhere. And as soon as sex, literally, as soon as he's in, bang, I've lost interest. There was never once that I can think of that I ever really got excited in the slightest. You know, I could have quite happily gone back and chased someone else, you know, and on some occasions I have done. You're down some alley with some strange man that you've never, you know, you don't even know his first name, and you can't actually even picture, he's behind you, and you can't actually picture in your own head what he actually looks like. You only met him 10 minutes before. That, I mean, when you think back on it, I mean, even 5 minutes after, and suddenly I'm horrified, and I'm thinking, God, you know, I mean, how low am I going to sink before I turn around?
Prior to their marriage, Kim had been working for a number of years as a prostitute.
Didn't bother me. Still a lady, isn't she? It's just one of them things, isn't it? You know, it happens, but we're still together.
It was after Kim left prostitution that her addictive behaviour took over, and she found herself unable to stop having sex with countless men.
I did actually sit down and try and work it out one day. If you take my working career and all the affairs and all the boys that I slept with before I was married, etc., etc., I really don't want to tell you this, it does come to close on 100,000. As outrageous as that sounds, if you work it out, when I was working, really working, to be 10 to 15 jobs a day, 7 days a week, over the course of 7, 8 years, and that's disgusting. I mean, when I think what I put my body through, let alone in it. But saying that, in my defence, which I do have a defence very quickly, out of all those many, many, many men, most of the clients weren't actually sex. So although it wasn't full sex, but there was still obviously, you know, whatever it was, whether it's a hand job or oral or spanky bots or whatever it was that they paid for, you know, there was still some sort of sexual encounter. But when I think of that number, it makes me cringe, it makes my toes curl, and I can't believe when I sort of think, well, and I keep adding up again and thinking, is that right? That's terrible. Now can I go and hang myself, please? Please don't look at me like that. Speak! Somebody speak!
I don't know. My only regret in life right now would be that I haven't had enough sex. I'm very honest with the people that I see and can just say, look, you know, you're not the only guy that I'm dating. Which they seem okay about at first, and then they all try and change me. Guys are so strange. It's like, isn't that the perfect girl to have? A girl that just wants to have sex with you, doesn't really care who you shag, as long as you guys have fun. But I don't know, when I think guys start feeling for you, they just change and they get all weird and twisted and start getting jealous of the other people that they know that I'm hanging out with. And the way I see it is I use guys for sex. They certainly don't use me for sex. It's like, I can have sex and then I orgasm and then I want to go to sleep. No, I'm not interested in cuddles, all that crap. I just want to sleep. Like, it's a very male attitude towards sex. I end up having guys like chasing around after me, getting all emotional, wondering what's going on and why am I not calling them anymore, and it's like a role reversal. It's really weird. It's funny.
After 2 failed marriages, retired miner Clive now lives on his own. He meets women through internet dating sites.
Most of my day is spent logging on and off chatting. I got a nickname that I use. My nickname is Lucky Lips 2005. This one's very pretty. I've told her now I got the kettle on. I actually had this woman in Bolton one morning. She said she'd pop down, and she did. She came down that day from Bolton. I'm getting all excited about this house. This one's very pretty. I thought I'd lost her for good. All of a sudden she's back. And she said, yeah, okay, she'll whine. I got to be very fast here now to keep her in the conversation. And to me, this is like fishing now. Sounds good to me. You've got a big fish in the line, you've got to pull them in slowly, you see. And this one seemed to have got off my line and gone, and then she's come back again, you see. So I got to play it cool with her. I'd love to meet this one. I tend to feel with this one, because she's so pretty and so nice, I tend to feel as if I've got to know her, and that I already like her, and I can't wait to meet her.
When not chatting online, Clive's time is governed by strict routine in preparation for his forthcoming dates.
Sunbathing is very important for keeping me looking good. This is what the women like as well, you see. There's no doubt about it. They go for looks. They say they don't. It's so comical, women. They never tell you their true and deep feelings. They often say looks doesn't matter, but they do go for looks. It's important I have a lot of phones, because wherever I am in the house, I make sure that I can pick up a phone straight away. You can bet your life if I'm in the bath, on the loo, the phone will go. Because some women, they don't like the phone straight away, or they don't feel like phoning, and then they get that mood at a certain time of day where they want to chat. So you've got to catch them at that certain time of day. If you miss that, then you could miss a date as well, because they might not phone back again. I'm not sure whose knickers is who, but they're all washed. All smell nice. Nice smell on them, all ready for the women to come and pick them up. The only pair I do remember is these. The Californian girl had these, because she wanted to come back, you see. And I didn't like to tell her at the time that I didn't want to see her again. So I remember saying, by the way, she said, my gold knickers is in your bathroom, can you wash them for me? So I know that she owns these. I'm not sure about the rest, although I think these were from a nice young lady from Suffolk. But they're all washed and smell lovely. All they're ready for whoever comes to claim them.
When I recognised that I had an issue, it became easier, but it took me a long, long time to actually realise that I had a problem. I thought I was just enjoying myself and living life to the full, and no one was going to tell me what to do. I was in control. And then one day, it hits you and you think, fuck, I'm not in control at all. This is controlling me. And I'm completely out of control. And I can keep a lid on it to a point. But, there always is a but. I mean, all the time it's been happening, I've always thought that, oh no, I've got a lid on it, and then it goes and happens again. But, I need to know, I need to do this. I need to now try and sort of put an end to it and make sure that I don't do it again. And it is a battle. It is a real hard battle, and it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, really, is to just, instead of losing my temper, is just to sit down and breathe and think, right, don't go down that road again. But it's like the smoker that has to have another cigarette, isn't it? Will I ever be free of it? Probably not.
Having landed a monthly column about her sex life and the London social scene with Loaded magazine, successful model Coralie phones in her first copy.
Well, I've always loved kinky sex. I had a boyfriend a couple of years ago and he was very sexual. We used to get into strangulation and also cutting each other while we were having sex. I like pain, and we got carried away one afternoon. We had a couple of glasses of wine and we were watching porn, as you do on a Sunday afternoon. I love turning my lounge into a pussycat pleasure playground. We were watching porn and continued into the bedroom. He was spanking me and I was strangling him, and he spanked me so hard continuously that I lost consciousness. It was crazy erotic. The only problem is I had burst blood capillaries on my ass for 3 weeks and I had to shoot a commercial the next day for Playboy. It was quite embarrassing because they could take no shots of my behind. Yeah, it was really, 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 really shocking. They actually complained to my modelling agency because it was so bad. It's just one different step, isn't it? One more step of just, I find it really erotic. You're always looking for like greater thrills. I've got this really bad fetish with like, I've got this condition that I read about called acrotomophilia. And it's like people that fantasize about having sex with amputees. And I think about it all the time. I met this guy last year in Marbella, and he had this really bad car accident, and he was gorgeous, and he had his leg cut off. And there's all these footballers there and everything, and everyone, I sort of had the pick of whoever I wanted, but I wanted this guy with the one leg. And he just thought I was nuts. He actually got really scared of me because I was just chasing him around Marbella, and he couldn't understand. He was like, what? You know these other guys, why do you want me? And I was like, look, I just really have the hots for you. And I was just like, I couldn't stop fantasizing about his one leg. It was like really, really weird. And my friends were like, Coralie, you're losing it. And I was reading in that book over there, that Unusual Sexual Practices, that this condition can get so bad that you actually make your boyfriends or whatever, or girlfriends, like put bandages on and pretend that they do have one limb and make them like crawl across the floor and stuff. That sounds quite fun.
Clive has never travelled and rarely leaves the village, unless he's going on his weekly shop. Even choices of food are governed by sexual performance.
I eat a litre a day of yogurt. There's no need for Viagra or things like that, because I've done a lot of experimenting myself on knowing what to eat and what not to eat. To me, yogurt is the best you could ever get for a happy and healthy long sex life. Marilyn came from High Wycombe. She was an Italian, my first Italian date. And we had chatted for only about a week or two, and she was keen to see me. And I was keen to see her as well.
He had actually sort of told me, I think on the phone, he was sunbathing. And he normally sunbathed naked, but he would make sure he would have trunks on, which was the case. He answered the door in his swimming trunks. I was sort of pre-warned, if you like.
And she actually came round the back and she shouted, hiya. I said, oh my God, I said, you're here. Yes, she said. And I can see you're undressed ready for me, she said. Well, yes, I said. I was taken back by your comments, you know, because I thought she would have said, oh my God, quick, get dressed. But she was all excited seeing me in the nude.
I think then he made some remark to he was sunbathing naked or something like that. And I mean, I take things lightly. So I think I made some sort of flippant remark about, I'll give us a chance, I just got here, you know, just, I'm not going to take any notice. I had the house tour, had all these rooms, and there was his room where he said there was the bed he'd slept in, and that he had like silence.
This is my bed that I spend a lot of time in. This is where I bring the women I meet, and I bring them up here and we get in here. I still don't even know if they're going to sleep with me or not, but 9 times out of 10 they do. And they say, yeah, you've got a nice bed. They all have my red bed cover with a tiger. This is what you can call the bonk-in bed. But they don't realise why I've got the spare bed there. Once they go to sleep, I sneak out of bed quietly and slowly so that I don't wake him up, and I go into my spare emergency bed on the side, and the first thing I do is put earplugs in. I got to put earplugs in then to stop them from hearing them snoring, because some of them snore so loud.
He had difficulty in any adaptability, again, for making the space for someone else's personality.
One or two have woken up when I have actually gone into the spare bed, and they're shouting at me, come back in here, give me a cuddle, or don't leave me sleep on my own, because they want you to cuddle into them all night, you know. And a lot of these women, they come down not just for love making, but affection. They want a lot of affection. But to me, once I've made love, I just want to sleep then, and I want to sleep on my own.
I think he put out that he wants a serious relationship or something like that, but I don't think he does, because he couldn't actually live with one. So in that respect, I would say he is misleading, and which is quite sad, because there are a lot of gullible and hurt people out there. That is damaging, and that he doesn't feel any responsibility for kidding someone, I feel is immoral.
Now employed in her role as an in-house sex addict columnist, those close to Coralie are worried what an evening out might entail for her.
No matter where we go, all men turn heads and stare at her. Is it because she's gorgeous? Is it because they've just seen her in magazines, in men's magazines? I hope it's not. There's the sex addict, and I wonder if we could grab her tonight, because she'll go with anyone. I'm not going to say, she's really sweet, and everybody who meets her falls in love with her, because she's fabulous in her own ways. What frightens me is what she actually gets up to once she gets back to all these places she goes. That's the worrying thing. Are they doing things she doesn't want them to do? Things like that are a bit worrying, but then the next day it's the first thing I'll ask her, but she reassures me that everything was fine. And
you seem loved up tonight. You're not being your usual self. Girls' night's turning into you and somebody else night. Because you've got love hearts.
I kind of met someone. I kind of like them.
You do like them.
I got the butts in my eyes.
So maybe you're changing, eh?
I hope so. I want to change. As you can tell, I'm not really myself. Thursday night, I went out with the girls, Carla and all my best friends, and like a jealous girl pushed me off the table that I've never met before. So it was like the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. She pushed me backwards off the table, the ambulance came, tramp stopped. I got carried out by the ambulance on a stretcher, stayed the night at St Thomas's. I'm having problems now, so I've decided just to try and cool it. And I met a guy a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't like in the industry. Well, he's in the industry, but he's not. And I just decided that's it. I'm gonna like just be with him for a bit and just have loads of sex with him. He loves sex as well, and I just thought that's perfect. And it's just got all too much for him, and he's finished with me as well. I can't believe it. Just my lifestyle and how many guys call all the time, and how I'm just so crazy. And I can't really be told what to do. I'm reading all the articles. It's like being a sex addict and every single fucking thing that's written about me. So I just feel so insecure. I'm feeling quite lonely. I've called the girls, so it's right. But now I just feel like a bit of an idiot as well to ring back and go, oh yeah, remember that guy that I said I really liked? Oh yeah, he doesn't want to be with me. And I don't think I was in love with him, because that's just ridiculous. But I think I'm in love with the idea of being in love. But right now for me, I've just got to keep being the way that I am, because at the moment I'm married to my career. And what people do love about me is that I do love everyone, and I do have loads of guys and I have loads of girls, and that's what is making me me. And if I take that out of Coralie, then what's left? Someone sad and lonely.
After suffering through years of compulsive behaviour, Kim finally feels confident enough to confront her addiction with a therapist.
All I want to do is go home and have a coffee and shut my door and shut myself off in my own little world this morning. I'm feeling really unsociable and really unpleasant. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the dread of doing this or I'm just generally a bad-tempered old bastard.
Hopefully, you know, it ain't gonna happen again, is it? Is it?
Oh. We've been through this quite a few times and hopefully not.
You know, there's only so much you can take, isn't there? Therapy. If you're mental, you need it, don't you? Don't know, it's passing your problems on to someone else that can then just sit at home and laugh about them, innit? That's what they do, innit, therapists?
You alright?
Hello.
I do love him, so there's no point in going through all that. Although a lot of people that watch this will think, how can you say that you love him and have done what you've done?
Which is what?
Well,
I don't know your story inside. I don't know if you...
oh, well, I've cheated on him more times than I can count, probably. Which is why I'm here.
Because you want to not do it again?
No, I've never said that.
Right.
I would like to say that I would never do it again, but if I'm honest and completely 100% honest, if I get to a breaking point where it would save me, then yeah, I would. I suppose.
It would save you.
Yeah. Well, what's the choice, right? If you're me, and you think, right, I feel that I'm going to explode. I've got to get out of here. You've had a massive row. Everything is about as low as it can be. You've got 100 red bills come through the door. Everyone's screaming at you. You've got people complaining at you, and you just feel that you just can't take any more. And the choice is either go out and get pissed and end up down an alleyway with some complete stranger, or you could throw yourself off the nearest high building. What do you choose? The thing is, if I could just stop when I'm at the bar, if I could stop at the point where he says, oh, you're great, I want to fuck you, or even just that you're beautiful, and if I could stop at that point, then I've got what I came out for.
You've got the affirmation.
I've got what I needed, but I have to take it that one step further, just to prove to myself that he means it, I suppose. And then all the time you're thinking, what the fucking hell are you doing?
It's almost as though sex has been, for you, some of the most damaging experiences of your life, but you're still using that to try and build the positive experiences as well.
It's all I know. It's all to do with losing. It's all to do with being a loser at the end of the day. The whole thing comes down to that again. No matter what I do, I always think that I'm crap. And if I have an argument with Jamie, or I have a bill through the door, or whatever it is that sets me off, I've lost, haven't I?
So it confirms what you think,
Yeah.
which is that you're a loser.
And this is exactly, this now is also a bad thing, because I can't stand crying, especially not in front of anyone.
So crying makes you feel like you're a loser as
Yep.
well.
It's weak, it's pathetic, and I don't need to do it.
To anybody who cries is a sign
No.
of weakness?
Just me.
Just you. Just back to those high expectations you put on yourself again.
Yeah, I suppose so. And now I'm angry.
Because
I'm doing them a service because they are on their own at the time. They need somebody, and they contact me, and they come down here from all over the country, and they actually go away feeling 10 foot tall. So I do them all a service, there's no doubt about that. When they come along to sleep with me and make love to me, then they're even more in love with me and they want to marry me. And I break off slowly with them, and I wake them up to the real world, because in the real world you can't go and fall in love with somebody just like that. Unfortunately, a lot of these women do that. They do it because they're insecure and they're just looking for any man. They actually land up hurting themselves. I always say that. Every woman I meet, I say to them, I'll never hurt you. If you get hurt, you'll hurt yourself.
I've never really met anyone like him. Got a huge problem with women. He misleads them, maybe not intentionally, but I think it's more to do with his obsession. But it's not doing these women any good, because they're not happy, and he's not settled down with any one person for very long to say, well, yes, he did have a go at the relationship, or he made the effort. So I think it's quite sad, really. There's no stopping him now. His mind's made up.
My friends and family all look upon me as a right old Casanova. One or two of them have often said to me, there's no woman for you out there, you know. And I say to them, good, because I don't want a woman for me out there. I just enjoy having the one after another.
I just feel worse. I now can't see any answers whatsoever. Before, at least I knew I had a little purpose going on. I thought, right, remortgage, sort myself out, you know, try a little bit harder with my job. Now I'm completely confused about what I should be doing and about where I should be going or any of it. I feel like I'm back 5 years ago and I'm right in the middle of a traumatic nightmare that's just not going to go away.